Welcome to the Crystal Clear Podcast with Coach Dave Jones. This is the place to come get crystal clear about what you want out of life and out of your business. If you know where you're going and why you're going there and who you want to go there with, you're much more likely to get there. I want you to be happy, healthy, and wealthy, and we're all going to get there and continue to stay there together. I appreciate you. Good morning. It's Coach Dave, your player partner. You already know what we're talking about today. We're talking about business, because that's what I like to talk about every day. So, here's the thing. Your network is important. The associations that you build are important. And not kind of important. They're literally everything. So, think of this. When you are out conducting business, if you're not being of service to others, that's not actually a business. It's a hobby or a charity, something like that. What your goal is actually to do is to identify a problem and craft a solution that can help a specific person. Now, some people may see the problem as trivial, but everything that's trivial to somebody is of utmost importance to somebody else. And that's the somebody that you're focused on. You're not focused on the person who doesn't need your service. You should be happy. You should be thankful, and you should be grateful that they are happy, healthy, and wealthy. Or at least they're happy, healthy, and wealthy in a way that they do not require your service. That's a blessing. That's something to be grateful for, that they are happy, that they don't need that. Because that's not who you're looking to serve. You're looking to serve the person that does need you. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people, and in my younger years, I would say things like, man, just wait till I prove these people wrong. I'm over here spending time and energy trying to prove people wrong that ultimately it doesn't matter what they think or what they care, because they're not my tribe and I'm not their tribe. And that's not even a negative or condescending, arrogant thing to say. It's just reality that we are tribe creatures, a tribe species. And when we're talking about business, the whole point is to speak to your tribe. You know, I'm a huge proponent of making sure that your offer fits the market. But the goal, in my opinion, is not to be inauthentic in the delivery of that value. So, that to say this, if you're being of service, but you're acting like we talked about yesterday, you're actually not going to be able to deliver your best and highest value to anyone. You have to be authentic. I'll give you a little story about something that happened to me in the last week. So 2.5 years ago, and this is going to get to what happened last week, but 2.5 years ago, I quit my job as an engineer. I've been working for a manufacturer of IT infrastructure solutions. I'd been there for nearly 6 years. I was able to impact their operations in a positive way over that time. I was able to build a tremendous professional network here in the Central and North Texas areas. I felt good about the work, but I was performing there. I was trying to be the person to get the job done. And I was able to be myself, but at the same time, I'm not able to fully express myself due to the constraints of that environment. And it's no knock on anyone else, but I think of it like this, that there's boxes and there's people who are always trying to be outside the box or expand their box, however you want to look at that. But in that box, I had fulfilled my highest potential. And after you fulfill your highest potential in a time, in a space, in a place, in a certain group, if you choose to stay beyond that point, you're acting. You're no longer going to be able to express yourself in your highest and fullest way and be of most effect and impact. I had grown too big for the space in life that I occupy, so I had to do something different. So when I left, I started a couple transportation related businesses. I had a business associate at the time. That didn't work out. To make a long story short, I had to close those businesses. So what did I do? I started another transportation business. I was like, well, if that didn't work out, I had to dissolve those. I'll start another one. It's because I confused the fact that I had grown too big for my current space. It didn't mean that my value had stopped. So I wanted to switch from a manufacturing industry to a more tangent industry, but all the same, a different industry. But I couldn't express myself in my highest, best way, not due to personality defects, but due to skill defect. I was not experienced in that industry. I did not have the proper even disposition for the industry. I did not have the proper connections, relationships to build the kind of business I wanted to build in the way I wanted to build it, expressing myself in a higher way in that industry. Long story short, while this was going on, the company I previously worked for had retained my services as a consultant. So over the next, that first year and a half, I was doing a tremendous amount of work for them. So much so that it's kind of funny looking back, but, I'd asked for 20% raise and promotion, and it was determined that it wasn't an appropriate decision for the company, but as a consultant, that was more than compensated for. That's another story for another day. But anyway, so getting back to what happened last week. So once I decided to stick with figuring out how do I add the best value to customers in my industry, and that's in manufacturing, I just continued to refine that idea. So last year I was serving more as a supply chain consultant. So that was connecting contract manufacturers to other contract manufacturers, connecting OEMs or original equipment manufacturers to high quality contract manufacturers within my network. Just trying to solve the dots and help companies become more productive without taking on excess capital risk, and making sure that they're well suited partners from a philosophical standpoint, from a capability standpoint, from a personality standpoint. That's how I was able to add a lot of value last year. So I came to the realization, like, I had a ball 2021, but that way of building the business was not scalable in the way that I thought that I would be able to have the greatest impact. I would be able to make a great amount of income, but income and impact are not the same thing. They're just not. Impact is the work you do and the difference it makes. The income that you make is an outcome of the impact. That's how I like to think about it, at least. It's kind of like that. People think that conducting transactions is the business, but it's not. The business is solving the problem for somebody and improving their life, way of living, whether that's an individual or a company. And then the outcome of that is a transaction. And the better that you deliver that value, the higher every average transaction can be. Therefore, you will increase your income and profitability. The money is an outcome. The thoughtfulness into the valued creation, that's an input. The time, the care, the effort, those are inputs into the value. And once that value is delivered consistently at a high level of execution with the spirit of excellence, well, what's going to happen? You're going to have a transaction. You're going to make money. That's the way it works. So focus on the important things, and then the natural outcomes will take care of themselves. So end of last year, my largest client, which was my former employer, they decided to terminate that specific relationship with me, which is great. You want to, at some point, take those, potentially take those, that activity in-house if you have the requisite resources and capability to do so. I respect any person or company who makes that decision. Not every service is forever, nor should it be in all cases. Some cases it makes sense. If you're adding enough value, you'll continue to do it that way. It's kind of like, 100 years ago, I think it's something like 80% of people in the world were produced in the agricultural trades, because we needed most of the people making food to feed everybody. Whereas now you have something like maybe 5%. I know, at least in America, a very small percentage of persons globally and in the nation that are involved in that production, because at some point it made more sense to people to outsource that activity to a more organized industrial process. And kind of, you can get into if that good or bad, but at the end of the day, that's what happened. That's reality. That's the data. That's the facts. So, sorry, I went off on a tangent there and kind of lost my pace. But anyway, so I decided to pivot in the last year because I want to scale. The company made that decision. So I've been really focused on and communicating more directly, more clearly with my existing customers and my existing network partners. And not telling them what I do, but saying, here's my superpower. Here's how I can add the most value to you. And one of my customers, they coined it perfectly, in my opinion. They said, David is the Hitch of manufacturing, if you remember that movie Hitch with Will Smith. So what I do is I'm really good at walking into plants because I've worked in a lot of factories in my specific niche within the industry, sheet metal manufacturing. So there's not, an awful lot of processes and things I'm going to see that are just, I've never seen it. Explain it to me. Like, I get it. And if I haven't, it's like something else more than likely. I get it. I have a very strong memory, which allows me to walk into a situation and have a conversation. Someone can communicate to me, this is what I'm looking to do. This is what I'm looking to achieve. And I can say, have you considered working with this person, becoming a partner? That way you guys can leverage each other's strengths, networks, capabilities, so on and so forth. Therefore, you have a mutually beneficial relationship. You can both get what you need and want out of that arrangement. And the better I do that, the more opportunities come to me for the sorts of things that I actually want to do. And that is, I want to take my experience and my superpowers and affect specific businesses drastically. And in exchange for that impact, I want to have equity positions in those businesses and profit sharing positions in those businesses, because I want to share in that success with those great companies. My thing is not to necessarily form the companies or pursue those super high level opportunities, but where I come into most value. Now, I do enjoy that, but that's not my best and highest use. I had to humble myself, and I had to, and continue to have to, control my pride and ego that says, well, I can do it all. Sure, you can do lots of things, and I can do lots of things just like anybody else, but it's really about how can I clearly communicate what is my best and highest value. So I have to take time to analyze and think about what is my best and highest use and value to be of service to others. So that's what it is. It's effectively like a fractional COO. So if you're kind of something that will take you 3 to 5 years, if I can help you do that in 6 to 12 months, well, that's obviously worth a lot to an individual, because I care an awful lot about what I do. I'm very good at what I do. And this is not semantics. This is track record. That's not arrogance. That's documented, actual factuals. So remember that when you're doing business, it's about value. It's about clarity, your mission clarity. And we're gonna pivot that a little bit today. And let's talk about how do you get clear. So again, that's clarity, leverage, execution, analysis, and refinement. How do you get clear with yourself? How do you get clear on, hey, I am gifted at something. Do you even know what you're good at? I was at a marketplace this weekend, and one of the great feedbacks, which made me feel really good, I talked a little bit about yesterday about my wife's business, a vegan sweets business that she's started. I'm her like operations guy and her marketing person. Two things I'm really into. I'm good at it, and I had a lot of value there. Was that I spent a lot of time the last couple of years working marketing my businesses and investing into the education and networking to figure out how do you talk to a specific person? How do you communicate a specific value proposition to them? And how do you deliver that value in a high way so it's easy to understand? So in our booth, it's Neatly Vegan Sweets. It tells you what it's about. It's vegan sweets. I don't know what this Neatly thing is about, but it's kind of novel, so I'm interested. The colors are clean. The logo is like a memoji with just those texts, and it's stylized. Very bright colors. They're selected to evoke feelings of health and fun and lightness. In this case, femininity. That's a hard word for me to say. Womanhood. Feminine virtues and traits. So we put that together and people get it. And then my wife is super passionate about the actual product. People were blown away. They couldn't believe it was a vegan good. They had this idea that it was going to be dry, not very flavorful, not very tasteful, didn't taste very good. But we didn't get that sort of feedback. Feedback was, I can't believe this is vegan. This is great. I want more. I want you to be available to me more. I love it. And that was great. But it was because my wife took that time. We had conversations over the last year. She was involved in many real estate ventures over the years. We were both doing that together since 2015. But it's like, well, what is the work that you can infuse your passion with? What is the work that you can infuse your strengths with? It's not just about making money. It's about enjoying that process and enjoying the service of others. And if you can do that, man, you can do anything when it comes to success in business and enterprise. So really taking that time to say, what am I good at? How do I add the most value? What brings me the most joy? How do I bring the most impact, whether that's joy or profitability or whatever is important to that person, to them? How do I do that? So in this latest iteration for my wife, that is, she enjoys being of service to others, putting a smile on their face, putting joy on their face. She's a phenomenal cook. She has a lot of passion for it. There's very few things I see her, just that glow you see in a person's eyes, very few things I see a bigger glow from her than when she's being of service to others through food. So we're doing that. So then I combine that with my passion for business processes and operations. I don't really care what the business is most of the time, as long as I know that my specific skill set can add impact and value and enhance that value proposition. I'm all for it. So when you put those superpowers, what did you get? A great day. To generate over $100 an hour, your first time out at an event where there was like many other events going on, tying this in, talking to other vendors that didn't have a strong day. And as I was walking around, kind of just doing a tour, not in a judgmental way, but always doing market research. I guess that's judgmental, but not in a condescending way. I'll say it like that. Judgmental is not bad in my opinion. You're always judging your world and your environment to make sense of it, to figure out if it's safe or unsafe, if it's for you or not for you. That's natural. So anyway, walking around and I'm looking on some tables. Like, man, that's a lot of stuff going on. I look at the banner. It's just some like random name that sure it sounds cute. It's a cutesy, but it doesn't communicate anything about your business of significance that's clearly understood. It's not understood by me. And obviously, if you had a bad day, it wasn't understood by many people. How are you differentiating? Are you just doing something for you, which is pride? I made a post about this yesterday on Instagram, or maybe it's coming up this week. But anyway, I know I developed the post. And that is, you have to check yourself to say, am I doing it for me or am I doing it for impact? And a lot of times we'll do things because we think it's cute, because we like it. And you do need to enjoy it and have passion. But how do you package that up and formulate that together? The thing is not actually the deliverable. The thing is the enjoyment of the process. As long as you enjoy the process, you'll enjoy the business. If you're just so focused on the product, if I can't make this product or do this specific service, I won't have any fun. Well, you haven't taken the time to clearly understand what is your best and highest use case. That's a set of traits. It's not a thing. It is the traits that allows you to make the things, to do the things. Understand that. So get clear on it. Clearly define what you're good at. How are you going to do that? You're going to leverage your memories, your experiences, your observable results, your documented results that you can quantify, or even those strong qualitative traits about the value you've delivered. And then what are you going to do? You're going to test a thesis. You're going to make a plan and say, this is how I'm going to test if this is what I'm actually good at. Then you execute a plan. And then you analyze, was that received well by your intended market, by your intended person that you want to help? And if it is, well, you're onto something. If you're not, it's probably not an issue of the traits. It's an issue of that it wasn't packaged correctly, or maybe it wasn't communicated correctly, or maybe you're doing the right thing, but for the wrong person. Maybe you're doing the wrong thing for the right people. But that's why you got to analyze. You got to think critically. And then what do? You refine, repeat. You go through this process again. You keep going. You don't give up. And as long as you keep going, you'll figure it out. You'll add value. You'll make the kind of money you want. You'll live the kind of life you want to live. That's the clear method. Applied a different way. This process works for everything when you want to improve your life and business. I haven't seen it disproven yet. I appreciate your time today. I appreciate your attention. If you could, head over to my Instagram, Coach Dave Jones. Follow me. Check me out on YouTube. That's probably where you're listening to this. Let me know what you think about it. Twitter, Facebook, same thing. Coach Dave Jones. Y'all have a great day. Until next time.